Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Trump pardoned reality star Todd Chrisley advocates for Black prisoners. Recently pardoned reality star Todd Chrisley is advocating for better treatment of Black prisoners. Chrisley, the star of Chrisley Knows Best and its spin-offs, opened up during a press conference in Nashville on Friday, claiming that he saw Black inmates receive disparate treatment. "Anyone that says it's a fair shake, it's not," he said. "I dealt with young African American males in the prison that I was in that were not treated the same. They were denied programming. They were denied access to certain things. I was not denied that, but we know why I wasn't denied. And so I think that's a much bigger picture that we all as a society, as a whole, need to look at, that we are one," he continued. Chrisley and his wife Julie were recently pardoned by President Donald Trump after they were sentenced in 2022 for tax evasion and defrauding banks of more than $36 million. During the conference, he proclaimed his innocence despite both being convicted and having the conviction affirmed on appeal. "Whether you believe it or not, because I was you at some point, even though this pardon has happened, I still was convicted of something that I did not do," Todd said. "It could be you. It could be you. It could be any of you. And somewhere in this room, someone has had a family member that has been affected by the system. I understand the shame that's around it, but I refuse to feed into that because shame is like a cancer that just spreads and I have no shame," he added. Chrisley's daughter Savannah announced that the reality star and his wife will be returning to reality television with a new show that has already begun filming. "It's honestly felt like a dream to have them at home," said Savannah. The sun shone a little brighter the morning Todd Chrisley walked out of Pensacola Federal Prison. The former real estate mogul and reality TV star, once best known for his perfectly pressed suits and quick-witted comebacks on Chrisley Knows Best, now wore a humble gray sweatshirt and a new sense of purpose. His early release had shocked the nation, especially since it came by way of a controversial presidential pardon signed by none other than Donald J. Trump in the twilight days of his second term. The pardon came wrapped in media frenzy and political firestorms. But Todd, ever the master of reinvention, chose not to return immediately to the luxury and limelight of Nashville. Instead, he launched himself into a campaign few saw coming: prison reform, specifically shining a spotlight on the injustices faced by Black inmates in the federal prison system. "I've seen things I can't unsee," Todd told Gayle King during his first televised interview after his release. "And what struck me the most is how the system swallows Black men and boys whole, how their humanity gets stripped the moment they're booked. That's not justice. That's machinery." For all this fame and past flamboyance, Todd spoke with quiet clarity. No punchlines, no bravado, just raw, lived experience. During his 15-month stint, Todd had befriended countless Black inmates. Some were inside for minor, nonviolent offenses that had landed them decades-long sentences under mandatory minimum laws. Others were victims of prosecutorial overreach, unable to afford effective legal defense. "I met a man who got 22 years for a third-strike marijuana offense," Todd shared during a panel in Atlanta. Meanwhile, Wall Street execs destroy families' futures and walk out with bonuses. Critics initially dismissed his efforts as PR rebranding, another show in a long-running Chrisley performance. But Todd didn't flinch. He partnered with grassroots organizers, joined forces with the Marshall Project, and even sat down with families of incarcerated individuals. The work wasn't glamorous. But for once, Todd Chrisley didn't want the cameras rolling. This was real. And yet, the irony wasn't lost on him. "I was pardoned by a man many accuse of exacerbating racial division," he said at a community town hall in Memphis. But I can't control how freedom found me. I can only decide what I do with it. That earned a few raised eyebrows and a few claps, too. Behind the scenes, Todd was organizing legal reviews for dozens of federal inmates, most of them black, whose sentences seemed disproportionate or unconstitutional. He funded lawyers, commissioned investigative reports, and sat in courtrooms beside mothers who hadn't hugged their sons in years. He launched an initiative called Second Sentence, which helped inmates earn degrees, learn trades, and prepare for life beyond Terrence T. Man Holloway, a 27-year-old serving 18 years for a nonviolent robbery in Georgia that sparked one of Todd's most emotional crusades. They had shared laundry duty in prison, folding institutional sheets and trading stories. Todd taught T-Man about real estate flips. T-Man taught Todd how to braid hair. "I'll never forget what he said to me," Todd recalled. "They think we're animals, man. You're just visiting the cage. We live in it." That stuck, haunted him. T-Man's sentence had included testimony from a co-defendant who later recanted. Todd's team worked tirelessly to secure him a retrial. When a federal judge granted it, citing new evidence, Todd was in the gallery with T-Man's grandmother, both of them sobbing. Todd's advocacy didn't go unnoticed. Civil rights leaders like Reverend Al Sharpton and Angela Rye gave cautious praise. "It's not every day a wealthy white reality star gets woke in prison," Sharpton quipped at a rally. But Todd's walking the talk, and that matters. Of course, not everyone welcomed his voice. Some activists questioned his authenticity, pointing to his lavish past, his tone-deaf social media posts, and his former avoidance of politics. Where was this compassion when he was raking in millions? Asked one prominent reformer on X. He only got radicalized when he had to eat cafeteria slop and bunk with the people he used to ignore. Todd didn't argue. "I was asleep," he admitted. "I lived in a bubble of money and privilege. And when the walls of that world crumbled, I woke up to America as it really is for most people." Back in Nashville, the Chrisley family wasn't quite the same. Julie remained incarcerated, and the show had been pulled from USA Network years earlier. But Savannah, now a podcast host and occasional commentator, stood by her father's mission. "Dad's not doing this for image," she told people. "He found faith in suffering. He found truth in prison. And most importantly, he found his voice." In a turn no one expected, Todd was invited to speak at the NAACP's National Convention. Clad in a modest black suit and no flashy accessories, he took the stage to a room full of skeptics. "I'm not here to pretend I know the black experience," he began. "But I shared space with men whose futures were stolen by a system I never saw until I was inside it. I can't unknow them. I won't." His voice trembled. "We can't keep writing off these men as statistics. These are fathers, brothers, sons. We need restoration, not just retribution." By the time he finished, the applause was hesitant, but it was there. A beginning. Donald Trump, for his part, made no comment on Todd's activism. But sources close to the former president noted he was amused by the turn of events. In a world where redemption is rare and complicated, Todd Chrisley carved out a path both messy and meaningful. Not everyone forgave. Not everyone believed. But for the men still locked behind bars who now had a powerful new advocate, belief wasn't the point. Hope was. And Todd was determined to make it more than just a campaign. He wanted to make it a movement.